The most dangerous book on earth. The Book of Azif, or the most dangerous book in the world, or the Book of the Dead. There is only an original copy preserved in the Vatican. All that exists of it is translated copies and carry some excerpts from it. The book is the most dangerous book known on earth. When it was translated into Latin and Greek, the Pope burned all the copies, confiscated the book, and imprisoned everyone who tried to acquire it. The magicians themselves, especially the owners of black magic, stay away from it and fear it. The book talks about the old mysterious entities, especially the hardened jinn, the marada, and the devils. It was said that these entities were expelled from the earth by angels before Adam was created. So they inhabited the depths of the earth and the oceans, and the depths of the caves and the ends of the earth. They were said to have been exiled behind Mount Kaf. This is a prelude to the creation of Adam, and we will mention some of these entities at the end of this episode.
The atmosphere in which the book was written.
The author of the book is Abdullah al-Hazard. That magician described his author as one of the dirtiest witches ever received. He is a Yemeni poet who lived in the days of the Umayyad state and was nicknamed Crazy. It was known to the general Arabs and humans at that time until Bin Khalkan, the historian Al-Alama, has dated him in his book The Deaths of Notables and the News of Time, and he told us the story of his death with one of those old entities. It was said he roamed almost the whole world and visited the ruins of Babylon, where he spent more time than necessary and was fluent in multiple languages. And he also learned black magic and mastered the language of the jinn, demons, and ancient languages, which was the entrance to him to evoke those rebellious and mighty entities. As he visited Egypt and Morocco and obtained ancient manuscripts from the defunct civilizations that he was able to translate, and then determined to leave for the empty quarter desert, where all the narrations, old and new, are unanimous that Aram with the pillars, the city built by the people of Od the giants, is there. He retired for a full 10 years. And there he summoned those mysterious and ancient entities as old as the earth, dealt with them, learned from them the secrets of previous civilizations and nations, and knew from them what happened in the defunct civilizations and bygone times. Then he traveled to Damascus in 730 AD, and then died in 738 AD in a fierce and legendary fight with a mighty being in broad daylight, and in front of the eyes of the people. It was said that the cause of death was his writing of the secrets he obtained from those ancient entities and the hardened demons in his book Al-Azif, and his betrayal of the covenant between him and them. Ibn Khalkan, the well-known historian in his history, says, "The one who witnessed the death of the barn told us that he was fighting with a frightening and giant creature in the light of day. And whoever saw the fight could not move a finger until the end of the barn at the hands of the giant creature, and it was a horrible end."
History of T-Book.
The Book of the Dead was translated into Greek by Theodore Villadas and took the name Necronomicon from its time. And this copy was burned by the Penguin Michael I in 1050, and then the book was translated by a Greek translator and writer named Theodore Philetus into Greek. And in 1232 the Pope ordered at the time that all copies be burned and banned from circulation. We must emphasize that no one has ever found an Arabic text for the book. However, Theodore Philetus translated it into Greek before it disappeared. He is the one who gave him the name Necronomicon and its meaning, Book of the Names of the Dead. It is said that the book is 7 parts and that the number of pages is 900 pages. Long after this, specifically during the period of the forced expulsion of the Arabs from Andalusia, A monk named Vermias came into great contact with Arab culture and heard about the existence of a copy of this book in the Vatican Library, which he realized contained everything. Somehow, he obtained the book of the Chronomicon and translated it into Latin. But the order of the book leaked, and the charge of heresy was attached to the man, and he was executed. However, many copies of the book were leaked to the extent that the word necromancer was given to those who studied it, and among them was a professional necromancer named Jacob Elitzer, who translated the book into Hebrew and called it Sefer Hashari Hadith, or in Arabic, the Book of the Gatekeeper of Knowledge in 1664. The book moved, and several magicians wrote about it, including Nathan of Gotza, and a famous magician named D was influenced by the book and translated into English, and called it Enoch, and claimed that he met with ancient entities and found a code with which he could talk to them. The book became famous in his time incredibly, and kept moving from hand to hand and reaped more victims until it was translated by a Greek writer named Theodore Vermias into Greek, who called it Necronomicon. And so Al-Azif entered the Western world, and it reached the Vatican, which immediately ordered the burning of all copies and the killing of those who deal with it, whatever its character, and that was in 132 AD. AD. The monk Vermias managed to leak a translated version into Latin, and was arrested and executed on charges of witchcraft and heresy once again. A professional Jewish magician named Jacob Altazer arrived and translated it into Hebrew under the name Sefer Hashari Hadith, which means the gate of knowledge. After that, his memory disappeared permanently, and all copies remained in circulation, all of which were forged. But the sure thing is that there are parties that own the original copy and use it for unknown purposes.
Book contents.
The book contains more than 900 pages, which talks about the entities that lived on Earth before the creation of man, and contains talismans of the kings of the underworld. And pictures draw their shape clearly and accurately, as the book contains ways to summon them and their names, and the powers owned by each of them. It also contains a set of languages of jinn and demons and ancient languages defunct. No one has been able to translate and interpret them so far. It is also claimed in the book that these mysterious entities are other than the jinn and humans, and the powers owned by each of them. It also contains a Sethit. They wander behind the world, and that they are the ones who used to live on the earth, and that they believe in their ownership of the land, and that some of them now live among human beings in human forms and bodies, and that they are returning to get the land again. And it is said in his book that he entered the city of Aram with baptism and saw its wonders, and huge and high-rise buildings built by the giants of the people of Od.
Entities mentioned in the book.
In the best way, the Fortuner has mentioned the names of those entities that lived in time immemorial, and they are Kafi, Mana, Khan, Henna. It is worth noting here that most of the horror stories and stories beyond the otherworld in world cinema are inspired by this book. And to live among the sons of men, and to marry them, so that their seed may multiply on this earth. Such allusions are mentioned in Genesis, and especially in the giants section. Vala, he is a powerful demon of the goblin species, carrying the face of a child, and has 2 wings and rides on a dragon with 2 heads. And he has terrible power. Dagum, it is a king of demons, rules a large number of armies and demons, and has the head of a bull and huge wings huge. Jinn mutants, and these are among those who were deformed. And expelled from heaven when Satan was expelled, God's curse is on him from heaven. Ruth, it is one of the great tyrants. And rebels come out of the hands of many trees like tree branches. Giant tyrant arrogant possesses terrible power, and is from the Mloch underworld. The armored devil Gammon, a mighty one of the Titans. And a stubborn arrogant, we showed you several examples of these entities found in the book.